What's going on, y'all? We back in the building. Let's bring up this chat so I can see what y'all talking about. My apologies, y'all, for being tardy to the party. I was trying to get myself together this morning. All right. So listen, we're gonna be talking about Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 17, episode 3. The episode here on YouTube TV is titled Rum Ruptures and Redemption. Okay. Unfortunately, they have the episode description wrong. So we'll just have to leave that at that, right? We'll leave it at that. But you know what's funny? I can see the episode descriptions for the next 2 episodes. So, okay, so let's get into a little bit of tea real quick, because I was like, I didn't know we could see the episode descriptions. So, listen, if you are tuning in, we're going to be discussing the BIMBO in the room, okay? The whole episode, we got K. Michelle's explanation from our friends over at the Bravo Shade Room. Make sure you guys follow them. Wait, did somebody say, did you say, hark, the great house of Atlanta crumbleth before thine eyes. Lo, the mighty Atlanta housewives do descend into the abyss. What in the Lady Whistle Down did you just write here, the Chocolate Boy Wonder? And why are you not writing books? I might have to get you to write the intro for my next book. Okay. The Chocolate Boy Wonder, go ahead and shoot me an email at bookings@djrichieskye.com because I don't know why this is sending me, but it's sending me just a little bit. Okay. Just a teensy little bit. I don't know what inspired that just now. I don't agree. But but I like the way you write. Okay. Oh, y'all, speaking of which, also too, remember tomorrow is going to be our live masterclass. In case you guys have missed either of the last 3 or 4 that we've done, I'm going to be helping you. This isn't just about YouTube, okay? I want to let you guys know that. This is about you getting into the content game in Facebook, YouTube, or whatever platform that you choose, and we want to help you get monetized, right? But before we get to the point of monetization, we need to figure out what your strategy is. And so because you need a strategy, I don't want you to make the same mistakes that I made when I first started. So I'm giving you all of the game. But I want it to be specific to your specific situations as well. So if you're looking to finally make that leap, you may have lost your job. You're afraid of AI coming to take your spot. You might want to do this faceless, right? If that's you, click the link in the description and I will, and hop on into this masterclass. I don't know that I'll do one again until maybe next month or so, but I don't know. It just depends on how I feel because it takes a lot out of me to do these and I give y'all everything. So hop in on that if you haven't already done so. And I'll put the link in the description as well as in the chat. Okay. All right. So look. So I don't even know where to begin. Okay. I don't even know where to begin. Do I start with the episode descriptions? Let's get to the tea first about the episode descriptions. Episode 4 is titled Where's the Beef and the Budget? With financial rumors slow cooking in the headlines, Pinky feels the pressure rising. A questionable claim has the ladies on edge as Cynthia lines up a girl's getaway. So Cynthia's doing the girls' trip. Porsha attempts to keep her dating life fresh, and Dennis stays firmly on her plate. We've already seen some previews for that. I'll talk about those previews in a separate video because they are too funny. And we got a lot to cover in this one episode right here. And I don't even want to take us down that rabbit hole. Okay. Now, yes, thumbs up on the video. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. Welcome back, boo. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. But you back. We made it. We made it. We made it. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Oh, I appreciate it. Something said, or give them a little red today. Give them a little red. And then episode 5, which will premiere on May 3rd. I think. Wait. Yeah, May 3rd. One of these coming up episodes or something like that. Yeah, May 3rd will be Dynasty Divas in Atlanta. So celebration sour in Dallas when room drama and fresh conflict shake the group. Okay. So we've got some upcoming beat that we know is going to happen with Pinky and her upcoming event. We know that in this episode, Pinky believes that, or says that Phaedra is eating the dead people because Shamia told Pinky that Phaedra said that the woman still eats the meats. I would assume that the only meats that she's got going on that she might be I ain't gonna even say that, but I'm just saying, y'all know what I'm talking about. It's probably, in a marital way, right? But other than that, I don't think the lady eating the meats. Listen. DJ Richie Skye about to get signed to Once in a Lifetime Records. Okay, you never know. You never know. All right, so look, the bimbo. Let's get to the bimbo of it all. All right. In this episode, we got to take things all the way back. Okay. In this episode, K Michelle, this is following up from last week. K Michelle had to perform at an award show. During the award show, she had an issue where something or some tissue, a scar, a previously sewn up scar, I don't know, something from 8 months ago came open. Okay. And so the seat ends up filling up with liquids. All right, bodily liquids, some of some sort. Now, in the previous episode, I was uncertain as to whether or not those liquids were actually like, some people. I mean, if you've ever broken out into a cold sweat, I don't know if it was that, but I'm kind of unfamiliar with the liquids that might be leaking from the buttocks area in terms of surgical or whatever as a result of whatever's going on with the surgeries. I just don't know about that type of leakage from that area. So I could understand why there could be some level of confusion. Okay, some level of confusion. So K Michelle goes to the hospital. We follow that journey, which I did think that was pretty admirable because, listen, I mean, some people would not have wanted to, allow that. And I have to say, with both Pinky and with K Michelle, their levels of transparency to me, to be first season Housewives, I think is really, really cool. And it is making some of the other wives, in my opinion, I'm like, like we could use a little bit more of this level of authenticity. But for some of the wives, I kind of wonder if they feel like, well, we've been doing this for so long. Like, I've given you guys this. I can't keep giving you that. I wonder if that's the same thing that is happening with like maybe a Phaedra or a Drew, right? Because I just don't know that I feel like the same levels of transparency. I think it's going to be difficult for Drew in general because Drew is still dealing with the Ralph of it all, the divorce, the house, what she can and can't say. And I don't even think he's going to be featured in this season. So it's not like previous seasons where we've gotten a little bit of Ralph to help fill out the story for Drew and help us give us greater context for it. Now, again, some of you guys may not ever want to see Ralph again a day in your life. I'm just talking about from a story perspective, okay? So I have to give props to that. So K Michelle in this particular episode is getting dolled up. We learn that the ladies have come by the hospital. Porsha has apparently been back and forth to the hospital. Shamia has come visit her, and I think Cynthia, maybe Phaedra, some of the ladies have reached out to her, and some of them have visited her. We'll get back to Porsha in just a second. So, in this episode, we see K. Michelle getting ready for an event. She's getting glammed up at the hospital, and they're about to wheel her out, and so she's about to go and meet with the girls to film, because K. Michelle is going to be professional. If nothing else, right? Professional-ish. She's going to show up to work. She's on this show. She manifested it, and she says, no surgery table is going to stop me, okay? Nothing is going to stop me. No leakage shall prosper in my name. Not today. Not today, Satan. So she gets herself glammed up, dolled up, and her husband escorts her down to the nail salon to go film with, or the foot spa, or whatever it is, to film with Porsha, Phaedra, and Cynthia, the three OGs of the show, right? So this will be kind of like K. Michelle's first time really sitting, I guess, with like specific cast members like that after the Porsha versus Kelly of it all. In the previous episode, we know that Porsha basically set Kelly up for the okie doke. I mean, she did. I think that whether or not she came into that situation with that plan for that day, she had it ready for Kelly. And I don't think K. Michelle was ready for that level of Housewives 101, right? Porsha basically pulled an old school Housewives move, right? Where she came into the situation. Yeah, ha 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 ha. Girl, I got all the tea on you, and I'm going to spill it right here to your face. Whether you like it or not, whether it's true or not, I don't care how convoluted the story sounds. I'm going to give it to you because you gave it to me in an interview. I didn't appreciate it, but you know what? Let's nestle your face in my bosom, and we are off to the races. Kelly says, ha 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 ha. We're good. Give me a hug too, like you hugged Drew, and we're off. Of course, we know later Kelly felt some type of way, and this seems to be a pattern, okay, occurring, because the same thing is going to occur in this situation here, okay? So Porsha, as K. Michelle is sitting down and the ladies have arrived at the nail/foot spa, K. Michelle is opening up about her time in the hospital. Now, there's a question that Porsha does ask, and she's like, do you want to talk about it? Because that question is tricky for a lot of people, okay? That little question is the subject of much of the debate online on social media as to whether or not Porsha really meant what she asked next, all right? So when she says, do you want to talk about it? She could be saying, well, do you want to go into what's going on with what's really happening, right? Do you want us to go into your tea about you being in the hospital? Have you spoken about it already, right? It could have been that, right? It could have been a respect thing. Do you want to talk about this? And then how deep do you want us to go with it? Okay? Some people will feel like that was Porsha's way of saying, hey girl, do you really want to get into it? Okay? Some people could say that, as K. Michelle will later tell us, Porsha already knew why she was in the hospital. They had already had a specific they had a specific conversation about the buttocks and about whatever may have been leaking, because K. Michelle also knew that Porsha had a somewhat similar incident happen with her tata, right? This one or this one, I don't know which one, but one of the tatas had a similar issue, and so that's how they knew. So the question for K. Michelle is, if you and I have had a conversation about specifically number one, you've been to the hospital. Number two, we've had this conversation. Now, obviously, we didn't see their conversation. We saw Shamia go to the hospital to visit K Michelle, but we didn't see a lot of their dialogue. But if they came to the hospital, one would think that Porsha would know that the reason why you are in the hospital is because you had some type of tissue coming open, something that leaked out from the buttocks area onto the seat at the award show, such that they had to dry you up. Now, I don't know how they put it back together enough for her to perform. That is some magic right there. That is some sorcery, some wizardry. But let me tell you, that is some type of professional. You have an opening in your body actively, and you are still able to get up on that stage and perform for the people. Oh, listen, okay? That when I tell you, that is a level of professionalism. And granted, listen, this does not go out to just K Michelle. This goes out to anybody that has had something like this happen, and they still have. Let me tell you, I'm gonna tell y'all a story. She's not gonna be mad at me because nobody's gonna know who it was. But I had a friend of mine who years ago, we were working at a job, we were working at a contract, working, just like literally working. And so I remember she had literally a procedure done. I think it was like some type of I don't know I don't think it was liposuction. It was something. It was like a tummy tuck or something. Over the Thanksgiving break, homegirl was back to work. Okay. That very next week, hunched over, wrapped up in a shawl, working. Okay. I used to work. I ain't gonna. I used to work in IT, so I'll give you that much, right? But so I listen. I just again, hats off to anybody that can do it, right? All right. So anyway, because they had this conversation, this is why Kate Michelle is kind of like when Porsha asks, "Well, you had a miscarriage?" I think because at this point, K Michelle is trying to maybe figure out who is who in this show and who and what is what. And coming off the heels of seeing the the Porsha versus Kelly from what we just saw, I think that um maybe that's why K Michelle is a little bit confused about Porsha. So she says this and I have had this posted because I wanted to draw attention to it for you guys. She says, "Have you ever almost died from surgery? Have you ever lost several babies? And everyone knew why I was in the hospital. I was out the hospital bed an hour and being asked if I had a miscarriage in an Atlanta nail salon. I forgive and come in peace, but I'm very much clocked in." Someone else says, K Michelle is dragging it with this miscarriage thing. Like that was a valid question. So I think for K Michelle, if you and I, if we are to believe K Michelle, okay, if you and I have a conversation and I tell you I'm in the hospital because of something going on with previous silicone injections something leaking, okay? If I just had a conversation with you about that, why would you ask me if it was a miscarriage? That I think is K Michelle's point that people seem to be looking over. If we are to believe K Michelle, okay? So if you believe K. Michelle, then you will believe that she already had a conversation with Porsha. Porsha already knew exactly what was going on. So why the miscarriage? Now, then the next person who may be confused about the situation then also could say, well, I mean, having a conversation amongst women about a miscarriage is, yes, sensitive, but like it is. I don't want to say it's open dialogue because I'm not a woman, and I don't want to take anything away from that. But from a viewer's perspective, we've seen conversations happen on TV about miscarriages in a variety of situations. So for us as a viewer, we may be thinking, a viewer could think, well, what's the problem with having a conversation about a miscarriage? Because that also seems to be an issue for K. Michelle. So I think for me, K. Michelle should probably just stick to this. I already had a conversation with her about it. So, okay, so Toya BC says it's taboo. So again, this is why I prefer to do these types of things live, because I also readily admit that I have a lack of experience in certain topics that I feel like only sometimes a woman can give me more insight or perspective on. And I have to respect that. So there's that. Okay. So K. Michelle says, would you want someone in the middle of a nail shop screaming out in front of Atlanta when you're an hour out of the hospital asking you in front of other women you just met if you had a miscarriage? Oh, okay. All right. And so there is the scene in question. I guess for me, because we know Porsha, okay, this I think is going to be, for me, and probably for a lot of you in the audience watching, the way it happened. I don't think that Porsha was being malicious. What I think is happening is that K. Michelle saw the interaction between Porsha and Kelly. And in that moment, she had a moment of like, oh my God, like this was all like Porsha came into this with the ammunition, and it felt like a setup, right? Not so much as a setup as like, ooh, I didn't set you like setting up Melissa, you know what I'm saying, back in the day, right? Not like that, but just like I'm gonna get my lick back type of setup, right? And it kind of was, but Porsha was getting her lick back. Not that it's justifiable, okay? But I can't go down that rabbit hole because I think there are elements of that story that I feel like people do know about. So I don't really know where we go with that. And I feel like we're going to come back to it. But I think that there's also a thing that we have to remember about Porsha that Cynthia says is that sometimes Porsha speaks before she thinks. We saw this as evidence on The Traitors. When Porsha was talking in that first episode, if you haven't seen Traitors, you will know that Porsha just sometimes says like things that probably like, girl, did you really think about that? I think if anything in this situation, Porsha was probably not thinking and responding. You know what I'm saying? Like remembering bits of their conversations, but I generally get the sense that I don't generally feel like she was being malicious in that situation as much as probably it was maybe in poor taste. So, um, so K. Michelle leaves. In the scene, K. Michelle kind of laughs it off because I don't think she knows. She's probably confused in that moment. So I think she probably left the scene, right? I think she left the scene, rethought about the Kelly situation, then wondered, is Porsha trying to do the same thing to me? Am I being punked right now? And without having that conversation with Porsha directly right then and there, And I do say this happens as humans a lot. We do sometimes leave situations like, did that person just say that to me? How did they mean that? Now you can't keep doing that on a show like this, because we really we ran Angel down on Potomac for doing that, right? We ran her down. But at least they handled this in the same episode, which we will get to. So the ladies react to K Michelle posting about a bimbo, okay, and how she was activated now that she kind of figured some things out, or thought she figured it out, right? Um, and so I think that's also what's interesting too. It's Simply Beverly. Oh, I like your picture. K Michelle even agreed and smiled, saying she thought it could be as well. When it was said that it was a miscarriage, she should have corrected her at that moment. And I think that looking back, K Michelle will probably realize that she should have corrected her in that moment, because that was the moment to correct her, you know. And I think that K Michelle, being really new in this situation, probably also is like, um, okay, I don't know, right? Um, and she reacted. That is one of the reasons why a lot of people like K Michelle, but it's also a lot of the reasons why some people won't like K Michelle, because she is very reactive. Okay. And so she does that on social media, leaving the girls wondering. So the next scene that we see with K Michelle is she's having a sit down with Cynthia. Cynthia has gathered the two new girls, I guess maybe in order. Um, I think let me respond to this. Y'all make any and every excuse for everything Porsha does. Okay, so I mean, I don't take this as being directed towards me, mind you. But I will say this. So I don't take offense to this statement. But I will say this. I think that sometimes as adults, we also have to look at situations from an objective perspective as best we can, right? And while I don't agree with people saying that K Michelle is reaching and she don't belong on this show because of this one thing, I think that this is the dynamic that we're seeing play out, is that we often see Portia say things before she really thinks about it, right? And then we also see her do something purposeful, like what she did last week with Kelly. So I think two things can be true at the same time. One, someone took offense. K Michelle took offense to what she said, because where she's like, we already had this conversation. But then also, two, I think sometimes Portia just be speaking. She just be talking, and K Michelle didn't correct her in the moment. So, um, I don't know. I don't know that people make excuses for Portia, as much as I think that people probably have an understanding of Portia, and some people also think that she does play the dingbat, as as K Michelle has labeled her. Okay, is she a dingbat? Um, Mind you, I do enjoy K Michelle's um country colloquialisms, bimbo, dingbat. They seem to cut a little less than versus straight out calling somebody an SLUT. So anyway, so this is what I'm saying. Like this ain't fair. Says, when I watched that scene, me and my sister's mouth dropped. You don't come out and ask somebody if they had a miscarriage. So people feel different types of ways about this situation, and it just kind of depends on what your viewpoint is about it. Okay. So the next time we see K Michelle is with Cynthia and Pinky. We learn that they're both Deltas. Shout out to all of our Deltas out there. Um, and this is a lively little brunch. Okay. This is a very lively little brunch. We learn about the dingbat. We learn about K Michelle being upset about the Porsche situation, posting about the bimbo. And Cynthia being like, listen, if I said something, just somebody just let me know, child. Let me know. And then they get to talking about, well, K Michelle asked, well, listen, what's going on with Phaedra? Because all she does is laugh and giggle. And you know what? Ain't that what most people are complaining about with Phaedra anyway? Now, listen, I like Phaedra. I do. I do. But, you know, there are really times on this show, as I'm watching this season in particular, where I find that Phaedra could really just be a friend of the show, like Cynthia. You know, giving us some funny one-liners here and there, cracking a joke in the confessional, just sort of laughing, a kiki, a kaka, well, that's right. I know that's right, girl. I know that's right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, child. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, sometimes I do feel like that. And it's so funny that in just 3 episodes, K Michelle has basically peeped Phaedra and basically gathered her entire game in just a few short weeks. I say this and I like Phaedra. Okay. Again, I don't mind her. Yeah, right. I don't mind her being on the show, but she just kind of feels to me like more of a friend of type of person, you know? So that's why I'm kind of like, yeah, I agree. She's iconic, but it's in terms of what we're getting from the season, it, it's just, you know, uh, just giggles, just kind of giggles. And do I think she would accept the friend role? Um, mm, oh, probably not. I think that they know that Phaedra also is just very well liked because she's funny. So I think that they know that having that level of like OG, somebody who knows what to do, but who isn't really going to. I think Phaedra's learned a lesson. Okay. Whatever that lesson is, it's made her a much different type of housewife in this day and time. That's what I will say about that. Okay. Um, so that question is kind of hard to answer. And yes, Kelly was literally non-existent in this episode, which also makes me wonder then, does she get paid because she was not in this episode? I mean, when you have 8 wives, it's probably really hard to fit everybody in. I mean, but we've seen Potomac do it. We've seen Beverly Hills do it. Well, Beverly Hills, yeah, we've seen Beverly Hills do it. We've seen New Real Housewives of New York do it with 8 women. So I don't know what to say about that. But there was nothing there from her. But she did have a lot to do last week, so maybe they were giving the woman a week off or something. I don't know. So the next thing we do learn about Phaedra, though, is that apparently she is told, in which we heard something about that, about how Pinky used to eat meat, which I guess gets relayed to Pinky as she still eats meat. And Pinky's like, well, I don't trust a lawyer who eats dead people or something to that degree. Okay. So there's some type of tension happening there as the women giggle over brunch. And Cynthia has to sit there uncomfortably trying to defend her OG friends. Okay. Meanwhile, someone is going to need to report all of this back to Phaedra in some way, shape, or form because K. Michelle has been advised by Cynthia, just have a conversation with Porsha because it will probably just be direct about it and keep it pushing. That'll be your best bet in this situation. And I agree. So, inside conversations, what we see are side scenes, and I'm gonna get to the Porsha and K Michelle of it all in a second. Back to that. We see Pinky going through and through and through. She has decided to file for bankruptcy, but she has not told her husband. She tells K Michelle she's filing for bankruptcy. K Michelle is like, tell your husband. I don't know if it's this week or next week, but they're going to go to dinner, and she still has not told the husband. All right. So, because it is her business and she's doing it personally, does she need to tell her husband? I don't know. I feel like it. I mean, he's seen it, in my opinion. I don't really understand what the big deal about it is, because at this point, he's definitely seen you down in the valley. Okay. He has seen you just, uh, he's seen it in some way, on some level. The man has had to see, girl, you are struggling. Okay. Now, I don't mean that in a bad way, but this is the person that you live with and parent with. I'm sure in some way, shape, or form, he know, girl, you going through it. I mean, everybody could see. I mean, the people, it's known at this point. I would have this, girl, like you told her 20 millions, 20 millions. He know. Yes. It sounds like you are in danger. So, girl, it should not be in my opinion, it should not be that much of a problem for you to tell him, babe, I'm filing for bankruptcy. I no. No, 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 no. And this other thing that I want to tell you, Miss Pinky, is, she feels in some way, shape, or form like she has the world on her back. Like, she's carrying Black women on her back. And to that I say, stop. Okay? Stop. Because here's the thing. And I say that not from a place of like, stop it, like being mean. I'm saying that from a place of, you can't carry that load right now. You can't carry that load. You have got to put your life jacket on. They tell you on the plane, you need to put your life jacket on before you can save anybody else. So, ma'am, put the life jacket on. Trust me. Okay? Trust me. It is going to be very difficult. You can, and yes, and maybe this is the way that you show other people how to handle a loss. It's not just that. See, that's the mistake that I think a lot of us make, is that we feel like the only way that we can uplift other people is to show them all of the good things that are happening to us. So to show people, oh, this is what you can be. This is what you can do. But you know what? Sometimes people need to see the reality of what it is to own businesses in this way and to make mistakes. And sometimes, maybe, perhaps, you shouldering this burden of feeling like you have to represent all the Black women out there who are looking to you for success tips and this, that, and the third. Unleash that burden, Pinky. Unleash it, ma'am. Unleash it. Free those shackles, ma'am. Free yourself. Free your mind, and the rest will follow. At this point, you got to let that go, okay? Because that is nothing but ego and pride. And it's easy for me to say this looking from the outside in. It is ego and pride that is making you feel like you need to hold all the Black women on your back. You cannot do that if you cannot save yourself. So let's get to saving you first, ma'am. Because I noticed that there are little things that she says, and I'm thinking to myself, ma'am, 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 save yourself. Save yourself, and figure it out as you go. It happens. There are tons of successful people of other colors, okay, who file for bankruptcy again and again and again. And look at them now. Look at them now. My God. You can do anything. Okay. So, with that being said, Pinky, I'm going to need you to let that go. I ain't know it. But again, I ain't showing those. I mean, I ain't watching those sports events. That's why I say these people with these restaurants, man. It just seems like the restaurant space. I feel like you just keep hearing. I don't even know how people got restaurants. Like my hats are off to you, because it just sounds so painstakingly difficult to maintain a restaurant. And I'm basically judging from what I see on the television. And I have known a couple of restaurant owners and personally, and I'm just sort of looking like this seems very stressful. And I just want to eat, actually. I just want to eat. So I am probably not the person that would be in a restaurante business because again, I just want to eat. And having to worry about liquor licenses and showing sports events and whatnot, woo like it's all that ain't worth it for me. At this point, just have your restaurant serve some food and don't have no TVs in your restaurant. Don't play no music. Don't what else can't you do? Don't serve no liquor. You bring it's BYOB. Actually, you can't even bring your bottle inside. You're just gonna eat some lettuce. Okay? If you come to the restaurant, you're gonna get some lettuce and you're gonna get this vegan something or other, a chicken, and you leave. Actually, don't even eat in the restaurant. I don't even want you sitting down no more. You got to go. You cannot do anything here, and I don't want no other partners. I don't want nothing. All right. I want me. And I don't even trust people. I don't even want nobody to work in the restaurant. I will work in it 24/7. It will just be me making the vegan burgers, okay? But making the vegan fries or whatever they make and whatever people who are vegan eat. I don't even know. I don't even know what the vegans eat. Okay, just I'm gonna be back there shucking and jiving. I will be churning the vegan butter, and actually that will be it because I don't know if I'm Pinky if I'm trusting anybody at this point to do anything. It feel like this business partner did this. This business partner played the game. This business partner got the money. This business partner did this. This employee is ain't getting paid. So you know what? Let's settle it all. You work in the restaurant. I will work in the restaurant by myself. I will open it. I will close it. I won't even go to the bathroom until I'm done. When I'm when and if I got to go to the bathroom, I'm gonna shut down the restaurant. Nobody can come in. Nope, you can't eat in there. You can't order. You can't do nothing until I get back from the restroom. Okay, not because I got to see everything at this point. That's how I feel when I hear somebody talk about they're opening a restaurant, specifically down into Atlanta. Everybody and their mama on Love and Hip Hop, they got a restaurante. Okay. And from what we're seeing on Atlanta, how on the Housewives is the restaurants, they be hard to keep open. So I don't know how the people on Love and Hip Hop be doing it. They must got the magic formula because I mean it just seems like a lot going on and you got a lot to be dealing with. And who has time for all of this? You know what I'm saying? Who has time for it? No, 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 no. New business plan, Pinky. You make all the food. I mean, it's not fun. I'm not trying to be funny, but I'm just thinking to myself now. I'm like, now I'm getting frustrated. You know what I'm saying? Like, what? Why am I mad? I'm not even vegan. I just want some. I want some meat. Slap me some meat on a plate. Okay. Um, that's why I gotta wait. That's why I gotta take 12,000 steps a day now. How did I get here? I didn't even intend to talk about this for very long. Honestly, I really didn't. I really didn't. Oh, poor thing. The other thing that happened in this is, speaking of businesses, everybody's got a business these days. And so as I tell people too, right? I tell people in our master class, shameless plug, get yourself something else to do besides just being on the YouTube and the Facebook. Get yourself something else to do. Okay. How do you add that into the mix? Okay. How do you get paid for more? How can you double that revenue? Let me show you tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Sign up for that class. Shameless plug, shameless plug, shameless plug. Shamia, starting the rum company. It's going to be called Rum Bum because, of course, anything that Shamia does has got to be related to booty. Between you would think, honestly, Shamia and Porsha would be BFFs because they love talking about rump shaking. I mean, everything has got to be a rump in the business meeting. Shamia got the rump shake. She got the twerk. It's always got to be a booty. There's a lot of booty stuff happening on these episodes. Now that I'm thinking about it, there's a lot of booty action. But again, it is what it is, right? I can't be mad at K Michelle. I can't be mad, I guess, at Shamia for capitalizing on booty and then praise K Michelle for being transparent about the booty. But sometimes I just feel like, I mean, at least with K Michelle's booty, it's like there's some intrigue there. There's something there. I think with for me, the obsession with Shamia and the booty, it's like, and even with Porsha from the booty, but Portia's got a whole lot going on, and she's in a whole lot of mess with a whole lot of people. Not really a whole lot, but just a few. But Shamia, I just feel like I really, I don't, to be honest with you, I didn't find Gerald to be unsupportive. I did find him to be pragmatic. You know, I find him to be very pragmatic. He seems very much like, number one, I don't want to be in front of these cameras, but I'm here for you. But number two, I'm going to ask all of the business related questions that I would be asking in my own business. And I know what it takes to run those businesses. And here you are, girl, talking about rump shaking. No, no, we gotta make sure, does this make sense? Do we really need peaches flown in from who knows where down to Grenada when they don't grow peaches in the Grenada? No, ma'am. If you don't pour some peach syrups in those bottles, okay, I don't. I mean, it to me, I just didn't get it. Like now we got to add the extra expense of trying to fly some peaches in because you want a peach flavored rum. Girl, let's just squeeze some peach juice in the bottle. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. You just won't get a fresh peach in the bottle. You already getting a booty shaped bottle. Do we really have to be that on the nose with having a fresh peach in the bottle? Do you need somebody back there peeling peaches and squeezing the little juice out of the peach? Get as much juice out of that peach into this booty shaped bottle as we possibly can. Get it. Just get it, y'all. Everybody back there getting it. Meanwhile, we got to import these peaches from somewhere, from God knows where the peaches are coming from. I don't know. Are the peaches coming from Georgia? I mean, somebody let me know. Where are the peaches coming from? So now the bottle is already $30 per bottle. So that means your bottle of alcohol, in order for you to make a profit, is probably going to have to be about $60 to $70 because we need a good old markup on that bottle for you to make a profit. If you talking about trying to retire these people, man, if you don't let that man retire you while he got all his businesses going on and HVAC is doing what it's doing and the HVAC is HVACing, if I was you, I would just be sitting around drinking rum. Okay, I would not be trying to make no rum. I would just be sitting there we're drinking rum and Red Bull. Like that's all we would be doing, Shamia. You see, I get it. You want something to do. You got to have story and you need some. But girl, sometimes a story is just being rich. Open a store. No, don't do that. Lord have mercy. I just finished talking about Pinky. No, don't open a store. Okay. Open an online boutique. Okay. Open an online boutique. No. Because people, have a problem with her fashions already. So don't do that. Can you? I would have preferred if she made a champagne or something like that. The girls are always popping bottles of champagne. I don't know. I just feel like, I like the idea of her having a business, and I want to see the exploration. I want to see this process. But I just want Shamia to handle it a little bit differently as well. Like, girl, I don't need you to twerk in the meeting with the executives and the people in Grenada. I mean, girl, like I'm sure, okay, when we're talking about carnival and things of that type of nature or celebrations, they have seen booties, and I'm sure they have seen bigger, even more robust booties. So in the meeting, as it's a group of the people in Grenada, down in the Grenada, on screen, and let me tell you something. Don't none of them look like they're gonna be like, let me see the booty, let me see a booty. None of them look like that. They look almost like it kind of gave me a family owned business. Like these people are ready to get to work, and here you are in this meeting, rump shaking for your life. Why is that happening? And the poor guy sitting, Maximilian or whatever his name is, which I love that name, and it's going in my next book. But by the way, that man is sitting there across the table from you as a business professional, watching you as you stand up and show your and shake, shake, shake your rump. I'm just like, I just want it to stop sometimes. Okay, can you just go to the business meeting, show off your vivacious personality? I actually really do like Shamia a lot, but I just feel like sometimes, like, okay, I not at the business meeting, not at the conference table. I have to apologize because I really did not mean to go there either. I didn't. Eh, so the other thing that we have going on, speaking of business, Angela. Oh my God. Why? Why don't you just there's two things that are happening with Angela. Number one, Angela had these properties. She lost $2 million. $2.1 million if you want to add in all the total. So a lot of things happening in this episode. And I admire the fact that she's willing to be so transparent about it. But her daughter, I think, has some good points to make, right? What are you doing with buying another house and trying to flip another house? Like, what are we doing right now? Like, why? Why do we need to do this right now? Here's the thing. I do understand that this can be a very profitable process. And I do understand, but I also understand what it takes because I've done it. And I don't like it. Okay. I personally don't like it for me. Okay. I don't because there's a lot that goes into this. Okay. And you, but here's something that Angela says, and I like that she says this. It was an emotional purchase. She has lost her mom. And to me, I said, you know what? I get it. I have definitely made some emotional, I think, purchases after my dad died because you are somewhat just looking for something to dive into or something that is going to set you back on the right path or something to make you feel like your old self again. But there is nothing that will change what you have lost. Nothing. Nothing is going to change that. At this point, it just is what it is. And I wouldn't have known this unless I had been through it, unless I made those same mistakes. So I can fully 100% say, as I'm sitting right here, I get it. And I don't want this for her. I want her to win, but I am cautious, as is her daughter. Okay. I'm cautious. Now, before we get to back to bimbos and dingbats, we've got to talk about Drew and this date. I previously, the last time we talked about somebody dating or bringing a man onto the show, we're talking about Porsha and how I didn't quite believe it. I equate it to, and I always say, sell me candy. For those of you guys that don't know, that's a Rihanna song. And it's from her, I think it's the Good Girl Gone Bad album. Chime in the chat if you know what I'm talking about. And I'm often saying on a reality TV show, when you bring a man in, sell me candy. Okay? You bring a man, you bring a woman. I don't care who you're bringing in. Sell it to me. Okay? What does that mean? That means that you, in some way, shape, or form, need to practice your chemistry with the person that you are bringing on. Even if you are just considering them a date, we've watched enough Housewives to question everything now in terms of when somebody brings on someone new. We've seen these types of things happen before. So sell me some level of chemistry. Practice it ahead of time. Just gently caress each other, before the scene starts. See how comfortable you feel, right? Or take some time, about a couple of hours, and practice with each other. Get familiar. I mean, practice a warm embrace. What does that look like? Two people who are familiar with each other, or at least want to appear as though they have some level of chemistry, they're able to move in sync with each other in a way that is almost undeniable, kind of like Dennis and Portia. Ah. But I digress about that until we talk about the previews for next week, which will be in another episode. But I say that from the space of Blacc shows up and Drew is in a scene with him and they are on a date at a restaurante. Now he has arrived with his very thick diamond platinum bling chain, dozens of roses, tons of them. And he is ready to caress her legs. He looks like he is working to sell us this thing he has for Drew. He is. Yeah, and I don't know. I'm not gonna profess to know this man's feelings about her. I need her to do maybe just a little more work in that area for me. And I feel like, my God, you're an actress, right? Again, I do think that there is some level of pressure behind the scenes for some of the single ladies to have a relationship on camera. No one has confirmed this per se. Like, no producer has told me that, right? But I just think that there is some level of something behind the scenes that makes the women feel, some of them, especially the single ones, feel like they have to showcase some level of relation. Now, Drew is still getting a divorce. So she is technically in a single phase, but she's not divorced. So I think she has to be a little careful about how she moves and how she plays this. So I think that may be contributing to her playing the very coquettish sort of, you know, um, I'm gonna maintain a safe distance. He wants to give, you know, presents to the kids. I'm like, I don't know if that's a good thing or not. I mean, it's not like he's trying to be there to give the kids the gifts, but they would be coming from him. I don't know where to where to go with Drew and Blacc because I just I just don't know. I don't have any real feelings about it as of now. But I will say that I think he was trying to show interest. And I felt like he, maybe a little bit more than her, was trying to sell me candy. And again, that is an analogy for selling the relationship, selling the feelings, the chemistry, the emotion. I think he did a better job in that scene than she did. But maybe she couldn't. Or maybe she felt she couldn't. I don't know. I just don't always feel like we're getting the most authentic Drew. There was something that our friends over at No Chaser posted, and I'm gonna put the link in the I'm gonna put the link in the description for after this, so you can check it out. It was something that Drew posted, and I felt like they had posted it. I don't see it now. It was, I swear, it was something about, it was a post about being broke 1,000 times, but also still being a hustler. I thought it was No Chaser, and I apologize if it wasn't. And I just thought that that was such a real post. There's something that I feel like I'm missing with Drew that I just don't feel like I'm getting, which makes it hard for me to connect with her on camera on this show. So it's unfortunate for me. I hate to even have to say, I hate that I have to even say this, but it feels more of a friend of type of situation for Drew as well. So, I mean, maybe that's because of the divorce. I don't know. All right. Anyway, back to bimbos and dingbats. So, the moment comes for, and I appreciate that thank you, producers. Thank you to the cast for not making us wait for this conversation 6 weeks later. Okay. They're having it in the same episode. This is how I like my Housewives drama to move. I need to be on to the next, right? Now, some lingering effects might happen, but the two people at the center of the problem, they're having the conversation in the same episode. Hats off to the producers for that. Hats off to the cast for that. Don't make us wait. I'm so sick and tired of doing that. We've done that on so many other shows. Potomac be good for that. Now, I love y'all, Potomac, but y'all be good for waiting. Just like y'all did with Wendy and NECA, they should have had a conversation sitting down together much earlier, but it didn't happen that way, okay? It was 19 episodes, it felt like, before we ever got the two of them having a conversation. So I love that they're having the conversation in this episode so they can either move past it or move with caution. One is moving past it. One is moving with caution. Let's talk about it. So K. Michelle basically lets Porsha know that she was confused as to why she would mention a miscarriage after they had conversations about the butt. And so Porsha is very much kind of like, first of all, something I thought was interesting is that Porsha was on the phone as K. Michelle is trying to talk to her. And K. Michelle is very much like, are you going to talk to me or the phone? What we about to do, right? Because sometimes in the past, I feel like when Porsha doesn't want to have a conversation, she will check out. It happened with Shamia last year. I think it happened with Claudia Jordan back in the day when, Porsha was like, you want some lotion, girl? Because these hands this lotion is so... Yes. Give me that lotion, girl. Sometimes she does, when she don't really want to talk about something, she can check a little out of it, right? So, K. Michelle calls her out on this, but I don't even know that it was a slight for Porsha at this point. But I'm just looking at previous behavior and wondering, I'm saying how it could seem, right? So they get into it, and K. Michelle's like, well, I told you this. And for Porsha, she is really looking like, I really thought that the way you described the situation, it could have been that. And I think for K. Michelle, she still has some lingering thoughts of like, girl, but we had a conversation, but okay. 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 And they kind of work it out because Porsha does apologize for, she's like, I've had, she talks about her own situations. She talks about how, the situations like in terms of like miscarriages, the breast, rupture thing or whatever it was that happened. She talks about those things. So she's like, listen, I am sensitive to these things as well because they've happened to me. So I wasn't trying to make it a thing. And she readily acknowledges that I think that you may have witnessed what happened with me and Kelly, and maybe you are thinking that is transferring over to you, which I have to give Portia props for because the way that she handled this situation was she quickly diffused it, or at least she tried to. I mean, I felt like she did not try to make the scene a scene. I felt like she was really wanting to find a resolution, and I have to appreciate that in that moment. Now, let's say for instance that she was purposeful with it. She didn't want to carry this. She was trying to move on. It seemed to me, right? So it was what it was. I said it. I probably misspoke. I apologize. I did not mean to offend you. I would love for us to move on, but girl, you can't be so reactive. Cause K Michelle's like, but that's me. I react on social media. I will react when I want to, and I will probably actually call you a bimbo again. Okay, it's probably gonna happen again. So be warned. You cross me, I'm activated, and I'm sure Portia's very much like, you cross me, I'm active. But you'll know when I cross. You'll know when I cross you. That's the impression I got. But I also got the impression that Portia really wasn't trying to have any smoke with her as much as I think that, K Michelle is looking with a side eye now because she saw that Kelly situation. And I think there's just a bit of distrust because even in her confessional, she's like, I'm hearing this apology, but I'm also seeing you for who I believe you to be. And whether or not that's valid will remain to be seen, right? So it was interesting. They did hug it out, but so did Kelly and Portia. So we see where that has landed. So we'll see where this potentially goes. I see a lot of you guys feel like K Michelle is being overly sensitive. And perhaps she is. Perhaps she is. I think that there's probably a bit of caution coming into this situation being a new person. But, this is what's also interesting is that Portia is the person that brings K Michelle into the group. So it almost feels like you have to kind of have some level of direct communication and dialogue with that person um, before you just kind of blow up online and become activated. And you don't know what that person really intended or really meant. So I'm glad that they were able to at least have a face-to-face ponderosa. And again, I have to applaud production for saying, no, let's get this done. Let's get it out. Let's get it out the way. And then from there, you either determine that you're going to move on, or as it usually happens on a reality TV show, one person does not indeed actually move on. Okay? That's just how it works. That's how it works. We've seen it happen time and time again. So, overall, at first, I wasn't quite sure how I felt about this episode. But actually, it gave me a lot to talk about. So I kind of feel a little differently about it now than I did in the right after watching it. Go figure. Let me know what you guys thought about the episode in the comment section or in the chat. What would you rate it on a scale of 1 to 10? Let me know in the chat. What would you guys rate it on a scale of 1 to 10? I haven't rated an episode in a minute. What would I rate it on a scale of 1 to 10? I think it was like a solid 7.5 to 8, maybe. I think that there will be better episodes to come, especially based on the last 2 episodes. This episode kind of felt like more personal story driven with drippings of drama that is also going to fester and build up over time. So it, yeah, it felt like a good 7.5 to 8. I know in the past you guys have said I'm very lenient on these shows, but sometimes I just be happy that I got something good to watch. So that also informs some of my judging. All right. So with that being said, listen, y'all, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Hit that like button. Y'all hit the like button. It is free. It's a free way to support. Okay. Just tap that like button. Sometimes we are all watching videos and we forget to like it. I do it. I do it all the time. I watch videos all the time and I'm like, oh my God, I didn't like it. So make sure you guys do that. And for those of you guys, like I said, who are interested in our masterclass, it is going on tomorrow. Okay. Now, what is the benefit of participating in the masterclass? You leave with a plan of action. Everybody who has left with a plan of action. And we have also like the notes that I send, like everything that I send afterwards, like is like solid gold. So trust me, you want to be in the room, all right? You want to be in the room to get this information, but you also want to be in the room to get the transformation because something happens with everybody who attends. I don't think that they leave as the same kind of like person that they start like they leave fired up and ready to go. Okay? That's the whole purpose is to get you from ideas to execution with a strategy. And that's what we're going to be doing, right? So if you're somebody who is looking to monetize your content, or if you're looking to do all of these other things, you want to travel, you want to leave your 9 to 5, or you want to add to your 9 to 5, then content is the way to do it. Trust and believe. I'm a living example of it. And you see so many people who are on these platforms are able to do the same. You think that you can't do it because you haven't done it. That's it. That's it. Or it hasn't worked for you because you didn't have a plan. And so that's what we're here for, is to help you with a strategy that works for you. Okay. I'm not the type of person that believes it's a one thing fits all. This is a strategy for you. Okay. So with that being said, I will catch you in, and I'll post the link again right here. That's not the link. Give me 1 second, you guys. I will post the link here and it will be in the description and in the first comment for those who need it. But otherwise, yes, let them know, Jewel. Get in class. Get in class. It's good. It's good, y'all. I give everything. So, and I hold nothing back. And you can ask whatever questions you have, and I'm willing to give you all of my resources and everything. I'll save that for class. There's something I was going to give y'all right now, but I'll save it for class. All right. Yes, enjoy your 420, guys. It is 420 today for those of you guys who celebrate. But I'll see you guys in the next video.